Hey everybody, my name's Jeff. I'm the side gig guy. I started this channel about a week ago, and a few days back I posted a couple videos to my Facebook page and wanted to get some response from people. And most of my friends just kind of had the same question. Are you serious about this, Jeff? You know, about the early retirement part. And they were also asking how much money I could really make as a side gig driver doing DoorDash and Uber and things like that. And I answered him and I said, you don't have a thing to worry about. Let me tell you a little bit about myself though. And some of this is explained in the introducing side guy video, but just real quick, I've been in telecommunications for the last 20 years. I've been at the same company for the last 17 years. And I love my job and I love the company I work for. They've always treated me fairly and I've been on some great, interesting projects. I think things started to change for me when the pandemic hit back in 2020. They took a lot of the full-time employees, engineers like myself, and we were working from home. They sent us all to telecommute. And I got really bored. I found that my job was so much easier because there weren't the constant distractions, the water cooler conversations as they're called, and things like that. And it really only took me about an hour or two a day of real work to get my job done, and then I had just free time. So on the weekends, I started doing DoorDash as kind of a start. And I picked up Amazon Flex and Uber Eats and Grubhub and all those along the way to see which one was the best and which one was the most fun, really, because I didn't need the money. One of the main reasons I like the side gigs are the flexibility that it gives you. I can work when I want, what hours I want. I can decide to work in the morning when I get up, or I can decide not to work when I get up. I can take a month off from work and come back and my job will still be here. So the ultimate flexibility that I have, even when it comes down to taking any certain delivery or picking up any certain passenger, I have the flexibility to just say, no, I don't want to do that right now. And I want to take 2 hours off to go do something. That's just great that I can do that. And the experiment's been running since last year, since late 2021, even though I hadn't really decided when I was going to retire. The date was real fluid, actually. It was really going to be like 2025, but now it looks like it's going to be 2023. The most important thing that you need to have is a budget. And so I worked out a budget for retirement, which I will talk about in a little bit. But in general, I knew that I needed to make about $3,400 a month. Now, my wife is going to be on Social Security in November, and she has a pension, so she will contribute $1,400 to that $3,400. And that just means that I need to come up with another $2,000 a month. Now, a side gig like DoorDash or Uber Eats or any Amazon Flex, any one of those in combination, you can make $100 a day with no problem, and that's after you pay for your gas. So I'm thinking $100 a day for 20 days a month, and I can contribute my $2,000. The key to this budget was actually being debt-free. And that's something that I started focusing on as soon as the pandemic hit. Like a lot of you all out there, we didn't really know what was going to happen next. And I think some people were scared and some people just reacted to that fear differently. And for me, it was, I'm going to start planning financially for the worst, for maybe me losing my job or something like that. So I paid off my house, paid off my car. I used the side gig money actually to help with some of those things as well. And now that I'm completely debt-free, no credit cards or mortgage payments or anything like that, I know exactly how much money I need every month to survive. And like I said, I'll go over the budget for that in a little bit. The bottom line is I could do it. So last year I was able to make that $2,000 a month all in 2021, no problems. And so far this year in 2022, I've made $16,000 and it's July 31st today. And that averages out to about $2,275 a month. Now my fuel cost is about 10% of that. So if we knock about $200 off of that, you'll see that I'm making around $2,000 a month. Now, I'm going to talk about car repairs and saving for a new car because obviously I'm driving a lot of miles, but I'm planning for the repairs and for the new car. All right, so how do we get there? And I've got some detailed reports that I'm going to pop up some graphics up on the screen here, and so you can see them as I walk through them. But I keep a daily log of everything that I do. I keep a monthly log, and then I break my budget down into a monthly format as well. And then I prepare an annual report. I've got a CPA who does regular consultations with me and check-ins to make sure that everything is aligned. There's a few things in these reports, though, that are more future-based. In other words, they're planning for when I actually am retired. And one of those big ones is the Fica money, the money that I'm saving for Fica, because I will have to pay my own Fica taxes, and I will have to pay the portion that my employer is paying now. So if you're self-employed, you kind of pay that percentage of FICA that you see that comes out of your check when you have a job. Well, you have to pay that twice, FICA and Medicare. So, but I'll talk about that in a second. Okay, so this is the July report, and the total income is $2,709. And you can see I drove 2,594 miles, and I worked 133 hours, almost 134. I purchased $250 worth of gas approximately, and I worked 25 of those days. A lot of those were really short shifts because, like I said, I'm working in the mornings from 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. or sometimes 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. And I will work 7 days a week. And in fact, I worked 25 days last month. And that's in addition to my regular full-time job. So I've been working a lot. Still on the left side of the column there, you can see what the total revenue is. That's the same as the total income at top. How much I spent on fuel and what the percentage of the revenue is being spent on fuel. Now, this month it was only 9%, so we did really well. I think you'll see in June it's 11%. We'll get to that in a minute. So all those numbers, when I put this into my Excel spreadsheet there on the left-hand side, those are all the inputs. And then I have formulas on the right-hand side that tell me, more about what I've done this month. So you see my mileage deduction from those 2,500 or so miles is $1,621 right off the top of my gross income. So I still get that money. I've still made $2,700, and I paid a couple $100 in gas. But as far as the IRS is concerned, you can see down there at taxable income, I only made $921 last month. And that is going to factor into my strategy for retirement. I'll get to that in a minute. So I have FICA automatically figured out and how much that's going to come out. I have my car savings based on driving 30 cents or paying in 30 cents for every mile that I've driven. So that could be a little bit high. We'll see. Car maintenance, I just went right online and I put in my type of car and I said, what's the annual cost per mile to take care of this car? And my vehicle is 9 cents per mile. So I factor in 9 cents a mile for every mile that I drive. So I put a little bit more aside for that. Obviously my gas is there. And so my profit after the gas and tax, and then my hourly profit after tax and gas. Now, some of you are probably looking at that going, Jeff, you're making $17 an hour. I'm sure there's other jobs out there that you could make $17 an hour at, or probably even a lot more. But no job would offer me the flexibility that I've got with this job. And it's worth it. I don't need a lot of money. I only need $100 a day, 20 days a month, or $2,000 a month. That's all I need to make to pay my bills. So the next slide I've got up here is just kind of a breakdown of July. So this is every day of the month for the month of July that I worked. And it starts on the 7th because I took a vacation at the beginning around the 4th of July, and so I didn't work anything for the first 6 days of July. But then starting on July 7th, you can see the column that says gross. That's how much money came in. Anytime it's $100 or more per day that I made, it's green. Anytime it's less than $100 a day, it gradually gets less green until it gets red. And that's just because that's my personal goal is $100 a day. And so I want to make sure I make $100 a day. And if I don't, I need to make up for that somewhere. The next column is the miles, and that's just so that Excel can automatically figure out the tax deduction, which you see in that column there. Then my net income, which you can see is significantly less than the gross income. How much money needs to go into FICA each day. And then I also just put in my hourly rate, and that's based on how many hours I worked and how much money I made. And anytime I made more than $20 an hour, I shaded it green, because that's kind of my personal goal is I'd like to make $20 an hour. Once again, the goal here is just to make a certain fixed amount every month. It's not really, I don't really care how much money I make per hour. And then finally on the far right, you can see I've checked off the different side gigs that I participate in and which side gig I did on that particular day. Almost every day I do DoorDash, either before or after or during some other type of a side gig. It's very good for me to mix Amazon Flex and DoorDash together because I can do a couple hours in the morning with Amazon Flex and then do DoorDash in the afternoon until I've had enough. I don't like to drive late into the evening or at night, so my day usually never goes much later than 4 in the afternoon. A typical work window for me, a window in which I would work, is from 4 a.m. to 4 p.m. And the reason I don't like to work that dinner rush, even though there's money to be made there, I know, especially you get that rush after dinner, that bar rush, and then the late night munchie rush. Sometimes I do catch the tail end of that at 4 in the morning. But the reason I don't work that is because there's too much traffic in the Atlanta area. And it's also in the summertime, which seems like it never ends in the Atlanta area. It's hot. I might work later, maybe in the winter, but anytime that it's not winter, I'm going to be off the street by 4 o'clock. And even in the winter, there's still going to be traffic in the afternoon and evening, and that's just not good. 4 in the morning, there is no traffic, and you get a lot of things done. Let me put up the daily for this weekend. I'm going to walk you through what I tracked for Saturday and Sunday. So the first day is Saturday, and I made $153. So I met my $100 goal. I drove 143 miles. I paid $9 in gas, and so my taxable income is only $54, but I still made $24 an hour. $24 an hour, because I really only worked about 5.5 hours yesterday. I was able to do what I was talking about earlier. I paired an Amazon run with a DoorDash run, and the Amazon run was $100, and then I made about $50 DoorDashing after that. So that was a really good day. Now today, Sunday, we only made about $86. So we came up a little bit short, but if you put the 2 days together, it was $100 on each of those days. We drove 100 miles, so our taxable income was actually much less because we did a lot more driving today. Spent the same in gas. Let me kind of qualify this amount of gas I purchased. So every day I go to the gas station and I try and put an even number of dollars in, either $5, $10, or $15. Number one, it's just easier to track. I'm just topping off the tank every day. But I get 10 cents back, cash back right now until the end of August on a particular credit card that DoorDash has. So I'm actually put in $10 worth of gas today, but it only cost me $9 with my cash back. So $9 worth of gas. There's a line in each of these monthly and daily reports called deposit to savings. The deposit to savings represents the car savings amount, the car maintenance amount, and the Fica amounts combined together. So every month I will get a grand total. So if we back up a minute and we go back to the July report, you can see in July I'm going to deposit $1,178 into savings. Now I'll deposit a little bit less than that because I'll take that $166 that should go to Fica, and I won't deposit that because I don't need to. I'm still employed at my full-time job. They're paying Fica, and I put plenty into Fica. Don't need to worry about them. I'll also probably claw out about $50 or $60 because I got my oil changed this month. And so I know I don't need to deposit another $50 or $60 in because I already paid out of my own pocket to get my oil changed. All right, let's look at June's just so I can, as a way of comparison, I'll put June's up on the screen here. You can see that I made a little bit less than $2,000, but very, very close, $1,997. And my hourly, once again, was only $14.09 an hour. But like I've said about 3 times or more, I don't care how much money I make per hour. I care how much money I make a month. So after the pandemic started and I got nervous and decided I wanted to get out of debt, I figured the best way to do this was to double up on making payments on things and to just cut back expenses. And one of the easy ones to cut back on was eating out, because a lot of the restaurants were closed down or only had carry out. Eating out was where a lot of my money was going that I wasn't tracking. A lot of my non-tracked money going out was in eating out. And now I hate eating out. Every time I look at the check, I think, well, how many DoorDash deliveries do I have to make to pay for this meal when I could just buy groceries and I could have made the same thing in my house? Now, that doesn't mean that I'll never eat out again. If I go on vacation with my wife or we do something special, we're celebrating something, we'll go out and eat. But not once a week, and certainly not even once a month. And no fast food either. When I'm out door dashing, one of the key things I always say is I will not eat out at fast food. If it's $9 for the combo meal, that's how much money I pay in gas. So let's run through this budget. So the number one budget line item is savings at $1,000. Why am I saving $1,000? Well, if you look again at the June report and at the July report, you can see that based on the number of miles I'm driving, I'm going to need to save about $1,000 a month in order to cover my car expenses and to put enough money aside to pay for a new car should I need one. And also I have to pay my Fica taxes. So that $1,000 is inclusive of all those things. Groceries, obviously the food is a big line item. You would expect to see a mortgage out there. Like I said, I'm debt free. I don't have a car payment or a house payment. So the next biggest expense I have is groceries, and it's about 100 or so a week, so around 400. The next line is the health savings account, or HSA, and at 300 a month. I haven't decided if this is going to be a good amount for me, but because I actually haven't started doing it yet. I still have health insurance through my employer. But I think $300 a month into an HSA is good. If I have a zero premium plan with a high deductible, I'm going to want to have probably, $6,000 to $10,000 just liquid ready to go. And in the first 10 months of doing this plan, I'll have $3,000, and it'll only increase from there. I give to my church every month. State Farm is the insurance that we have for the cars and for the house, all rolled up into one monthly payment. The gas is $200 a month. In July, we put $244 in gas, so a little bit more. And in June, we put $234, so again, a little bit more. Maybe I need to adjust that budget number up just a little bit. FICA, this is an easy number to compute. If I am working $2,000 a month, I know that I need to pay into FICA 15.3% of my 1,000 net. The 1,000 net is approximately what I make after the mileage deduction. Once again, if you look at the June report and the July report, the net income for July is $921, and the net income for June was only $615. So I know that I'm only paying FICA tax on that number. So that's how much I'm putting aside. It's about $150 a month. So when my friends ask me, are you crazy? Are you really retiring? Are you going to make enough money? I tell them I've thought this out. And just in case anything else goes wrong, I still have a 401k also that I can dip into at any time. There's something called the rule of 55, that if you're separated from your primary job where your 401k is at, that you can dip into that as long as you turn 55 in the year in which you're let go. And it just so happens I will turn 55 at the end of this year. So I can get to my 401k should anything go wrong. I've talked to two different financial planners, one where my 401k is at and the person who does my taxes. They've told me that I could retire today. And as long as I can generate $3,400 a month, which is what I've shown them on my budget that I need, I could live comfortably. My one financial advisor actually even told me that if I didn't want to do the side gigs, I could probably just take that money out of my 401k and I could still live comfortably without having to worry about anything in retirement. But I don't think I'm going to do that. I'd like to actually let the market rebound a little bit, and I'd like to grow that money a little bit more before I start taking out of it. I'd actually like to take a big chunk out at some point and buy a house that I can move into, and then rent this house out that I live in now and generate income that way. So that's my plan. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I really enjoyed making it, and I hope that it's actually one of the first ones that I've done like this, where I just sit in front of the camera and talk for a long time. It seems like I've been talking a long time. But I wanted to share with you my plan, how much money you can actually make doing side gigs, what the future holds for me. I guess you're all going to get to find out, because I'm going to keep these videos coming, and you're going to get to watch how I progress throughout probably the next 10 years, as long as me and YouTube are still around. Thanks for your time. Have a great day.